Hello everyone. This is the second video of that series that I was talking about creating, which will be fictional kingdoms based on the Mesopotamian cultures, or let's call them empires or kingdoms. Today's video is going to be, like you saw, about Ashur, which is what the Assyrians called their empire, Assyrian Empire, Ashur. And as you can see, I start by drawing the borders, and I add the internal borders, as you can see here as well. Um, and then you can see that I'm adding castles and where I want the cities to be. Then after the rough outline is done, I go about adding the actual lines and then the mountains on the side. There's an actual map for the entire um, kingdoms, so you'll see the actual kingdoms that are next to it, and you can see that in the other video that I uploaded before. Excuse me. And then I start by adding the mountains right here. It was a bit tough to decide how I wanna how I wanna show the capital cities, the actual other cities, the towns and villages, castles, and the holy sites. And I ended up using these simple ones, but then you will see during the video that I ended up changing a few of them. As you can see, also I added some terrain inside: mountains, hills, rivers, and lakes and valleys. And always keep moving them. And as you can see here, of course, no map is going to be complete without a forest. And so I added this 3 spots and then connected them to show how that place is foresty. And you want to be careful with how you want to position things like this, because it has to go along where water basically is. Kind of like if you look at the map of Egypt, you see that the green areas are going to be obviously around the Nile. Same thing here. And we keep going. Here I'm just thinking about what to add and adding details to the mountain outlines, which is kind of just shading. It makes it look nicer, it makes it pop, and you're gonna see a difference here once the colors are gonna be introduced in. As I go about it, I do the northern mountain ranges as well, as you can see here. And then we'll move on to the southern mountain ranges that basically separate our kingdom here from its neighboring kingdoms onto the right side, or let's say on their east side. Obviously, you can name all of them. It depends. You can name some of them, and then over there, I'm trying to decide how to represent the cities. Like I said, I changed the city, made it a little house, and you will see me adding more forests, basically on the side, right next to the lake over there. And the reason why I added that is, as you can see, there's a holy site next to the bigger forest down in the south. Here I'm adding the houses, which will end up representing the villages or the towns and cities. And it depends. The bigger, obviously, the bigger the house, the bigger the hut, the bigger the castle. It kind of shows you what type of, let's call it, holding that area is. And as you can see, I'm drawing, a few of them. This is bigger, obviously. Now the holy site, which is the zaggorat. This is an actual zaggorat that is, and you can find it in modern day Iraq. Obviously, it wasn't from the Assyrian Empire, but I wanted to represent it here in real history. This was not the Assyrians' holy site specifically, but I wanted to add it because I think it looks nice as a mythological holy site, which I might end up doing for the other ones. Here, I ended up taking out the forests and actually going with the greenery, meaning the greener the area is, obviously the more foresty it is, the greener it is in real life. And then fixing up some colors along the rivers everywhere, as you can see here. I'll end up drawing the castle here and then moving it to wherever I want to position that castle. And obviously, if you would like to download the full version of it, we have that. I want to remind everybody to subscribe if you haven't yet. I'll be having a lot more than obviously these. I'll be doing hopefully weekly maps, and maybe taking suggestions. Comment below if you want me to, if you have any ideas for my next videos. I'll be doing the next kingdoms here below. This is another tower. And for future videos, if you have any ideas for what you'd like me to do, for obviously, like I said, for future videos, please let me know. I will be continuing to do the maps that I talked about here from the Mesopotamian mythology. Unless you have other suggestions, we'll continue to do these and add those as well. For the future videos, subscribe if you like what I'm doing. If you want to see more, I really appreciate it. Since I was a little kid, I've been very basically, let's say, fascinated about maps and historical events and things like that. So I wanted to combine it all in one and try to see what I can come up with. The full resolution images. Contact me if you like. You can comment, and I'll drop the links to the full resolution images if you'd like to see those. And as you can see here, I'm adding more and more cities. And I tried to make them different from each other. So sometimes you'll see the type of house, the type of hut, the type of castle is going to be different for each one, just to maintain some variability. And to keep them unique. Sometimes when I'm doing simpler maps, when I'm drawing simpler maps, I don't do them as variable. So it's just going to be like a dot to represent a village, or a bigger dot to represent a city, and maybe a square, or an even bigger dot for a capital city. So we can see here that it's almost done. I'm thinking about putting back the forests. Here I chose not to put them as well, and then just adding some more towers and some more castles here and there. And you will see me add them all over the place, wherever a city is, to kind of fortify each. So I mean, we want to think about where would you put a castle if this was your province, your internal divisions. And then I added obviously the internal divisions with these dotted lines to show what each, let's call it, it's not an accurate term historically, but for them, but it would, let's call it duchies inside the kingdom. How would you put it? So obviously you would put it wherever the easier passes are, kind of closer to the coast to protect your holding, or maybe closer to the borders. And then here I'm kind of adding the names of the, for example, Nimrod Lake. You can see that these are all inspired by Mesopotamian deities, or themes, let's call. And then that's the neighboring state of Marduk, the Empire of Marduk, which was one of the top gods over there. And then just to add some depth and some texture to the water, as you can see here, I added these ones. Kind of gives out a nice detail for the water outline everywhere. It's always nice to have that. Kind of makes it pop. Makes your map look nicer. And then the Sea of Tiamat. Tiamat is one of the, let's call it, destructive deities. And then just adding the heraldry over there, as you can see here. So by the end of this video, I'd like to invite you all to subscribe, comment whatever you think about this video and what you like me to do in the future. And hopefully I'll see you more. I'm adding a little bit of shading for the colors, for differences, so you can see the provinces, and you see the roads between how you would go from each place to the other. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in my future videos. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day.